This is the segment known as the Black Pot, aka Kukushunamo, where we speak truth to power. We normally don't like to criticize, but if we must criticize, we will criticize only to build and not to destroy. My brother, my sister, it's all about the service to God and country. My brother, my sister, this is the Black Pot, aka Kukushunamo, where we speak truth to power. Ultimately, I want to say thank you so much for coming along with me. And today we have so many different things we need to talk about. I appreciate you and I love you. And I say thank you again for coming along. My brother, my sister, this is the Black Pot, aka Kukushunamo. Now, my brother, my sister, I would like to start with this. What has happened to the president's account of traveling around the country? Simply put, have they submitted to the taxpayer how much money belonging to the taxpayer they have used in flying around the country? The last time this one was raised in Parliament, we were told that it bordered on security for the country. My brother, my sister, we are asking a simple question. Are they ever going to account for spending the taxpayers' money flying around the country? Why is this important to us? My brother, my sister, a democratic government should not fear coming out to account to the people. A government that hates accounting to the people is not a democratic government, it's a thieving government. My brother, my sister, Mr. President flies around the country in a private jet, blowing the taxpayers' money left, right, and center. And when the taxpayer asks Mr. President to come forward and account for how much of its money it has blown away, they come to tell us that this thing borders on national security and that the national security minister should be the one to answer. My brother, my sister, is this not unfortunate? If Mr. President can tell us that the national jet is not good enough to carry him and his entourage, why can't Mr. President tell us how much money Mr. President needs from us to fly around in a borrowed jet? What kind of legacy are we leaving for the generations to come? What kind of legacy are we teaching the youth? What kind of pedagogy is this, my brother, my sister? What kind of teaching? What kind of legacy? What kind of message are we living for the youth? A president who hates accounting. A president who cannot be accountable. A president who can get up and fly and go anywhere. And we do not have the right to find out how much of our money he's blowing away. Are we safe, my brother? Come on the reasoning table with me. Does Mr. President have the right to fly around without accounting to us? Accountability is missing. Was this the government that we bargained for? When Mr. President was moving around the country, begging people virtually on his knees, begging people to vote for him and give him a chance to lead us like Moses towards the promised land. We believed him. A lot of us told ourselves that this man is too old to lie to us, that this man is too much of a fine gentleman to dwell on lies and falsehoods. But today, my brother, my sister, a lot of well-meaning people have come out, my brother, my sister, to tell Mr. President right in his face that he's not accountable, he has lost it, and that is a disappointment. My brother, my sister, how long shall we sit on the fence and wait for Mr. President to be accountable to us? How long would we continue waiting whilst Mr. President continues to fly around the country without giving us the common courtesy of accounting to us? After all, it is our money he's blowing away like that. The money does not belong to the president. The president has no money when it comes to the taxpayers' money. I need all of us to look at that reality. This is what is known as a reality check. What are we bequeathing to the youth? That the youth would inherit a country and would never be accountable? No probity, no accountability. My brother, my sister, how can a nation grow like that? All they are interested in is taxation. Tax, 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 tax. Tax here, tax there, tax everywhere. They want to tax everything, including the air that we even breathe. How can we grow as a nation? It hurts me, my brother, my sister. And if I ever meet Mr. President, I would honorably tell him that he has disappointed the people of this country. A government that is not accountable, a government that cannot be probed, is worse than a dictator government. How much of our money are you blowing away? What are you teaching the youth? What kind of lesson is this? So any other president comes and they can blow any amount of money, and when we inquire, they tell us that, oh, it genders on what is called national security, so they are tight-lipped about it. My brother, we are setting a very terrible precedence. A precedence of non-accountability, no probity. My brother, my sister, no responsible government would ever run a government that cannot be probed. A government that does not account to the people. At this juncture, I want to end it all by telling Mr. President, Mr. President, you see how far you have brought this country in a cloud of lies. You have brought this country to its knees by your too much borrowing. You have brought this country to its knees, disgraceful knees, by running around and begging for almost everything, from vaccines all the way to insecticides, all the way to everything. We do not want a country that is built on charity. We do not want a country that is built on somebody else's hard-earned money. What happened to its people? We are not a lazy people. We are a people who can also sit back and work and be able to make it happen. There are a lot of well-meaning Ghanaians who want to work, but there are no jobs. There are many more old men, square pegs in round holes, who should have retired 20 years ago. They are still in office. SNIT is still struggling to remove ghost names left, right, and center. The payroll is full of ghosts. That is what is swallowing the national revenue, not the lack of taxation. There are so many ghosts on your payroll, so many unqualified people who are all over in your payroll. The ghost salaries that come in, which human beings spend that money? It is time to purge the national income, time to purge the national register, time to purge, my brother, my sister, the payroll. You look at it, my brother, my sister, and it brings tears into your eyes. They are indiscipline. They are lack of business acumen. My brother, my sister, they are irresponsible behavior. And at the end of it all, we are those who become the sacrificial lamb. The taxes fall on us like sledgehammers. And when we cry, they slap us in the back and tell us not to cry. After all, we are building the nation. How can ghosts build a nation? After your sledgehammer taxes fall on our heads and break our heads and kill us. Ghosts cannot return and enjoy electricity. Ghosts cannot return and drink good drinking water. You are killing us time and again with your sledgehammer taxes. You have killed a lot of innocent people, yet you go to church every Sunday and speak in tongues as if you invented tongues. I wonder how you sleep at night when you know that you are least accountable to the Ghanaian who trusted you and voted you into power. You have become the most unpopular president in this country from the days of Kwame Nkrumah up till now. And it's very simple. It's because you have become irresponsible, my brother, my sister, and it looks like you have lost it all. 77-year-old man has inspired other 77-year-olds, 80-year-olds to become president because we have all become idiots. Anybody who wants to fall asleep can be president. In this country, you can't be president unless you have been beaten by mosquitoes that give you sleeping sickness. If you have never been bitten by the chacha fly and you don't have sleeping sickness, trypanosomiasis, you cannot be president in this country. It hurts me, my brother, my sister. I never knew that we would ever have a president in this country whose pastime is sleeping unrelentlessly. Sleeping night and day. Hates accountability, probity, no, zero. I leave it here, my brother, my sister. Today we have some interesting issues to look at. I just wanted to bring this, spark you up, and let's continue with the debate. When will the president account to us? We are interested. This arrogant president and his arrogant government should be able to tell us what they are doing with our money. Flying left, right, and center, we want to know. Allegations have come out that this is the amount of money. And you tell me that, oh, it genders on national security. For that matter, you will not talk about it. At a point, they said the national security minister should come and tell us. What is he going to tell us when he himself is busily gallivanting and modeling in front of prostitutes' cameras? We all saw that. We were all ashamed that the whole minister of national security will be caught pants down in front of a cheap prostitute's camera. It was all over on social media. They made a mockery of us. This is the man who is going to come and tell us that, oh, the president's security apparatus, because of that we cannot talk about the money that he spends. When Sewa Bruni and all those people are allowed on the president's plane, what kind of security does the president have? Haven't you made enough mockery of this country? Prostitutes can be on the president's plane and take selfies, and national security is caught hands down. Yet if a man is smoking marijuana, small piece of marijuana, in the deepest hole, they will find you. They would find you, my brother, my sister. If you are smoking small marijuana, you will be caught. I leave it here, my brother, my sister. Father in heaven, we pray that you bring down more wisdom on our leaders. At the end of the day, we suffer. They don't. Bring a lot of judgment on them. Let them be accountable. Amen. I leave it here. My brother, my sister, I'm going to look at the next thing. And this one I'm reading from my Joy Online. And it says, fuel prices to hit 7 Ghana cedis per liter by end of year. And this is from the IES. What at all is the IES? Listen. Fuel prices are likely to hit 7 Ghana cedis per liter or more by the end of the year. And the year is left with just 1 month. The Institute for Energy Security has projected global demand for fuel is expected to increase in the winter, and that could trigger a hike in prices globally in the wake of limited supply. Mr. Fries Moses, a research analyst at the IES, said in an interview on Monday. He said, depreciation of the cedi against the dollar could also be a major catalyst in the projected increment in fuel prices. We don't see prices increasing anytime soon. With the expected increasing in demand on the international market in Europe, Asia, and even in Africa, we think it will cause prices to increase. I'll leave it here. My brother, my sister, I never thought that in 2021 we will still be talking about the depreciation of the cedi, because we had a finance guru. We had a guru of an economist who told us by dint of his acumen that he would arrest the cedi, arrest the dollar, and ask the cedi to run whilst the dollar is held in captivity. Today, the cedi is experiencing free fall. Those who boasted that they were going to arrest the dollar and allow the cedi to have a heads up and run, my brother, my sister, have been caught mouth agape. Those who boasted to us that they were economists from the direct backbone and loins of Abraham Smith, I beg your pardon, Adam Smith, have all been relegated to the doldrums. Those who claimed that they were the grandsons of Adam Smith today have thrown economics to the dogs, and they are walking around Wale Wale, Tamale, and all the other places, including Kumasi, begging Asante Hini to be their father after they have denied their original father, Adam Smith. To those of you who do not know who Adam Smith was, he was a great economist whose theories are still studied around the world. When Baumia was asking us to allow him follow Nana Akufo-Addo and be the vice president, he came across as Adam Smith's grandson. Today he has relegated his own grandfather, Adam Smith, to the grave so pathetically, and he's running after Asante Hini and asking him to be his father. After all, his father Adam Smith is in the grave. His economics has all of a sudden dissipated and eluded him. He is now in a state of dementia when it comes to economics. He's totally hypnotized anytime we talk about supply and demand curves. He's totally lost. He's morose and hypnotized. My brother, my sister, today the dollar still reigns supreme. One of the reasons Ghanaians voted so massively to kick out the dead goat Mahama and bring in a live cow, better still, a live Lilliputian cow, Nana Akufo-Addo, was probably because there was a man who was so vociferous, very, 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 very agile when it came to talking. He convinced us that the city would reign supreme. From when he said that, it looked like the gods of Ghana got so angry with him and said, what plans do you have to make the city stand supreme? Or are you just on a talk shop? And in 2021, several years, 5 years after we gave them the trump cards to lead us, we are still talking depreciation of the city. So I tell you what is going to happen. When the leaders who boasted so much to us that they would hold the city fail, the clergy will take over. Very soon, Archbishop Duncan Williams will start speaking tongues that he's going to hold the dollar and the city will rise. He's done it before. Remember, the wife of Archbishop Duncan Williams came out and said that the initial stability of the city against the dollar was all because of her husband's tongues speaking. How many of you remember that? Those of you who don't and think that I'm playing the buffoonery, simple Google will be able to tell you exactly when she said that and her exact words. We speak with facts. In fact, when the city initially stabilized, albeit for a few minutes, my brother, my sister, hyping it on top, my brother, my sister of the world, they came out to tell us that, yes, you see, we have stabilized it. Hyping it on top of the whole world. But Archbishop Duncan Williams' wife came out and said, don't listen to all these politicians. They did nothing. My husband is responsible for stabilizing the city. He prayed and spoke in tongues. That's why the city has been stabilized. How many of you remember that? The Dagombes have a saying that I like, and I would like to quote it here. They say, and I quote, that when the dog is caught asleep, at the time that a thief enters the house, and the goat starts to bark, listen, the goat starts to bark at the stranger, the disgrace is the dog's disgrace. It's the duty of the dog to bark. When the thief comes in and the dog is busily snoring and the goat is now the one to bark, take the responsibility of the dog and bark at the thief. It is the disgrace of the dog. What's Blakk Rasta saying? The duty of the leaders to deal with the stability of the city, they failed. The clergy now had to run in their cassock, all over the place, pouring anointing oil, incense all over the place to stabilize the city. Then you know the country has gone crazy. We appreciate the clergy, we love the clergy, but when it comes to the economics, the last people we want to see dealing with our economics is the clergy. Same way, when we go to the hospital, we do not expect to see the clergy there laying hands on us and praying for us. No. It is when the doctors fail that we might call in the clergy. It's happening in some hospitals. The doctors do all they can they find no trace of any sickness. So they come to you. It's not quite professional, but they come to you quietly and tell you, you know what? I didn't want to say this, but seek other help apart from this. How many people know this? My brother, my sister, we are still talking about it. IES is saying that fuel prices would even hike up even more. Winter is coming. They are going to be cold and they will need more fuel. And as the supply is a little retarded, demand will rise and prices will fly high. That's all that they are saying. The same IES is saying that at this point, fuel prices should not go beyond 6 Ghana cedis. But what's the reality? We've gone over. I leave it here, my brother, my sister, and I just want to pinpoint this to you. When they are looking for the power, they can say anything to you irresponsibly, and they are not bold enough to come to us and even apologize to us. Those who came to us so humbly, so meek, like lambs, today arrogantly talk to chiefs as if they own them. Look how Muhammad was telling us that, oh, I'm a dead goat. What do I care about your knife? If you are wagging your knife in front of a dead goat, it doesn't see it. Say, wow, really? So you are a dead goat. Then your place is the butcher's shop. Not here. Dead goat. Today you are struggling to come back to power. If you hadn't been that careless, well, everybody makes a mistake. And if he genuinely realizes that, yes, he made a mistake, then, well, there should be another opportunity for him. Same way if Nanado goes back and realizes genuinely, the Bible says 77 times 7 times. Genuinely, that's the word. Why not? We all make mistakes. But as it stands right now, these people do not deserve to be in power. They are arrogant. They don't respect us. They are bellyful. They are bourgeoisies who see us as paupers. And yes, we are. Yetisikansu ebre. Yetisikansu ebre. Me ba beti petroso. Me ba beti petroso. Yetisikansu. Yes, ebre. What happened to all that rot? All that chaff. All that chaff from the mouth of an old man who shouldn't be lying. I leave it here, my brother. I'm going to look at the next thing. We thank the IES for coming out boldly to tell us this. Related to the petrol, I'm reading this from City Newsroom. I like City Newsroom. It says, GPRTU threatening strike by members over high cost of fuel. Did you hear that? GPRTU threatening strike by members over high cost of fuel. And this was written by one Philip Nilante. And this was published today, November 23rd. I read. All members of the Ghana Private Road Transport Union, GPRTU, will from today, Tuesday, November 23rd, 2021, wear red armbands as a protest signal to alert the government of its intended strike on Monday, November 29, 2021. Head of Communications for GPRTU, Abbas Imoro, says the action is to compel the government to reduce the price of a liter of fuel by 1 Ghana cedi 50 pesos. Speaking on City Eyewitness News, Mr. Imoro said members of his union would embark on an indefinite strike if the government fails to address their demands by Sunday. I'll leave it here. Bros, that's it all. GPRTU is saying they need a reduction in fuel. Now they have found a way of clamping down on Ghanaians and hammering them down with their sledgehammer taxes. Which responsible government will squeeze its people with taxes like that? We all remember when Gabi Ochridakun, I almost said of blessed memory. I don't know why. Gabi Ochridakun, pseudo prime minister of this country, with all respect, said that a country that taxes its people so much is like a man standing in a bucket and is trying to carry that bucket full of water. May I repeat? Gabi Ochridakun, whilst his uncle was in opposition, praying to the gods of Chebi and running all the way down to Israel to kneel down in front of the Wailing Wall and wail his heart out for God to give him the chance to lead this country. Gabi said, and he was quoting some other person, that a country that taxes its people and depends on so much heavy taxes, it's like a man standing in a bucket of water and trying to carry the water on his head. Today, Gabi says e-tax is okay. Gabi says LGBTQI plus square root percent is okay. Let the country, let the men and women change over. Let the men sleep with the men and women sleep with women. Let the men who want to become women go and change their gender. The men who want to be women, let them go to the surgeon. Let the surgeon cut off their penises and replace that with something. I don't know what that thing will be called. Maybe a hole. And inject them with hormones. Let women who want to be men grow penises all of a sudden. Inject them with hormones. Let them become men with deep voices. My brother, my sister, why is it that when politicians want power, they can run down all the good things and the bad things of the government in power? They see it is good, yet they would run it down just because they want to be in power. Why? Gabi said this about taxes, vehemently fighting taxation in this country. Today, your uncle is the king of taxes. Your uncle wants to tax the Kobe seller who is beginning to learn how to use Momo. Your uncle wants to tax Manyanka people at the butcher shop who are learning to sell 1 pound of meat via Momo. And that is okay. It is no more a man standing in a bucket full of water and trying to carry that same bucket at the same time. No. No, it is something else. Hypocrisy has become the hallmark of politicians. Hypocrisy has become the middle name of some old eminent sleepy dents. Maybe soon we'll start calling them sleepy dent rodents. They are rodents because they gnaw at the taxpayers' coffers. Jesus have mercy. May I leave it here? They are going on strike. Hey! I remember when my father used to bring me to Accra in those days when I was a student. And I hated Accra. You know why I hated it? because of the long queues, people boxing each other just to get on some rickety trotro. In those days, the trotros were like coffins. They would pack you. Sometimes people would even sit on each other's laps in the trotro, and I hated it. My father would drag me all the way. We would go and stand there in the hot sun and queue. We were waiting for a trotro to carry us all the way to Firestone. I remember that name clearly. Medina area, there's a place there called Firestone. That was where our trotro would stop. Then we'd walk all the way into Libyan cottages. Jesus have mercy. I don't know if the place is still called Firestone or they've changed it into Waterstone. This government can do anything. Or Airstone. Libyan cottages can now be called Chebi cottages. I don't know. In front there was something called Redco Flats. Today I wouldn't be surprised if it's called Blue Flats, Blue Co Flats, Green Co Flats. This government can do anything. Men can become women. Women can become men. Men can sleep with men. Women can sleep with women. If you can change a woman into a man in your regime, then of course Redco can become Greenco. Firestone can become Wirestone or Airstone. Libyan quarters would also be Chebi quarters. It's possible. Looking at the serpentine winding queues, snake-like queues, I always shivered. And my father would be punching people, stopping people and asking me to pass under his arm to run into the trotro. If I failed to do that quickly, he would be angry and say, the next trotro that comes, if you are not smart enough to, this is a crowd, you would see. Hey, I hated it. But the trotros played their role. They carried people from one place to the other. Without the trotro, it was going to be so difficult. I remember one day, me and my father were walking quickly to get to where the trotro would pick us. Some notorious taxi driver was behind us. Pee, 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 pee. My father pretended he didn't hear. Pee, pee, pee. Hey. My father didn't hear. And I was wondering, pee, pee, pee. And what did the taxi driver say? He rolled down the glass when he got to my father and said, yeah, I'm on fuck taxi. Why? Trotro, yeah. I remember clearly. Trotro, yeah. Move taxi. He couldn't even say taxi, he said taxi. Yeah, move for taxi. Today, if GP add to you with how much it has supported moving left, right, and center in the city and beyond, goes on strike, Jesus have mercy. Something will happen in this country. I pray that they find a solution to this. Immoral Abbas, I hope that you and your people will sit down with the sleepy dent rodent to find a solution to this. The rodent that is gnawing at the taxpayers' coffers. Jesus have mercy. To God be the glory. I'll leave it here. Next one I'm going to look at is from Peace FM Online. Jesus. And it's interesting. I intentionally reserved this to talk about today. And it says, GHS storms schools as vaccination starts for 2.6 million students. Did you hear that? GHS storms schools as vaccination starts for 2.6 million students. I read. Over 2 million students, both in school and out of school, have been earmarked to be vaccinated by the Pfizer vaccine, according to the Ghana Health Service. GHS. Dr. Patrick Kuma Abwachi, not Abwaji, Abwachi, The Director General of the GHS is in an interview on Peace FM's Morning Show Kokroko Monday, that's yesterday, said the Food and Drugs Authority, FDA, has given its approval for the vaccine to be administered for students aged 15 years and above. Why 15 years threshold? Even though other countries are administering the Pfizer vaccine to age 12 to 15 years, Dr. Kuma Abuaje, now he's been corrected to Abuaje, explained Ghana picked 15 as the threshold because of our risk profile. Pfizer has full registration from 12 and above, and in consultation with the FDA, we decided to administer to students to protect them. We are cutting our coat according to our size. We are also looking at our risk profile, and so we are starting with 15 years, the age group that moves a lot. According to him, in all 2.6 million students, both in school and out of school, will be vaccinated and to be taken to various schools, but those out of school can also join. Dr. Kuma Abuaje has further allayed the fears of parents who might be skeptical about the safety of the vaccine, and also urged the media to assist in sensitization. Meanwhile, the Director General of the Ghana Education Service, Professor Kwesi Opoku-Amankwa, has said in a statement that as part of the measures of halting the spread of COVID-19 in schools and among the general public, the Ghana Health Service has planned to vaccinate all children aged 15 years and above as soon as possible to increase their level of protection. What I was expecting to see here has not been put there. Is it by force? Should every child take this vaccination by force? They didn't add that. But the fact that they are saying that people should be encouraged leaves a certain loophole to imagine that it's not by force. I'm just conjecturing. My brother, my sister, if it is not by force, that is okay. They should go ahead. Those who are willing to take it, that is okay. My brother, they are saying that in the white man's country, they inject them from 12. But here, because of the risks profile, they have decided to take it to 15. You know what that means? Simple. In the white man's country, the risk profile might start from 12. People who are 12 are at risk. Or better still, more at risk. But here, no. The risk starts from 15. That's what it means. My brother, my sister. And therefore, they are all going to be injected. They go from school to inject them. Yes, we have a calamity that has befallen us. COVID-19 is killing people. I would have loved it if this country would rather concentrate on good health habits, eating good food, not having an agric minister go around and lie between his teeth at his age. How food is cheap, yet we are being strangulated night and day with food prices. Good health habits, so we can have an immune system that can be boosted to withstand all these poisons they are giving to us. Personally, I would want to see where the vaccine goes. Let the people study the vaccine more and more, and let us be sure, just like we are sure with one or two other vaccines, then we can now say, all right, well, there's a certain risk, but the risk factor is not that big, so I would take it. But as long as it's not by force, my brother, my sister, but they always have a certain tagline that goes with this. For instance, no vaccination, no parties. Oh, it's free. You are free to take a decision. But if you don't get it, you don't get A, B, C, D, E, F. It's another way of twisting your arm so that you must take it in order to survive in this country. We know all these tricks. For instance, the funeral tourism minister, Marco Krekumante, on behalf of his funeral tourism ministry, said that this December, any party that is going to happen, concerts, people attending concerts and all that, you cannot get in if you are not vaccinated. You are vaccinating 2.6 million people. How many people have you vaccinated so far? Are they even up to 1% the population? Even the countries that are manufacturing these things, they haven't been able to get 100% vaccination record, except for one country called Gibraltar. They are the only country in the world that has 100% vaccination in their country. Not even England, not America, not Canada, not France. Your president is still going around begging for vaccines. And you say that you cannot attend a party. You cannot entertain yourself this Christmas unless you are vaccinated. It means if it will take you another 10 years for the president to finish going around and begging, even when he's dead, his ghost will still go around and be begging to come and get you vaccinated. You will miss 10 Christmas. 10 Christmases you will lose. You cannot go anywhere because you've not been vaccinated. My brother, my sister, these funeral tourism ministers are not serious. Funeral tourism ministers. They want people to come from abroad and come and watch us mourn our dead. When we are crying and we are so pathetic, then people would be clapping because they are amused at our suffering. Such idiots. Make a mistake and come to my grandfather's funeral or any funeral of any of my relatives who chase you and your ministers and all the tourists out of this country. Go to Lima, where Imam Abdul Mumin has just died, and everybody is there crying, La ilaha illallah, walhamdulillah, inna lillahi, walhamdulillah, Allahu Akbar, Allahu Akbar, and white tourists are lined up and they are clapping. Man, this is good. This is good culture. Wallahi, Nima will chase all these people out. They will go to the funeral ministry, useless funeral ministry, and kick all those idiots out. Do you think? Are you sadist? There's a rich culture. Oh yeah, when funerals come, they wear black and red, and there's somebody who's charming rain, and somebody's dancing at the So yes, bring tourists. That can bring tourists. Yes, and we'll make money from people's disaster. Jesus. Hey, and funeral ministry thinks that, hey, it's made the best remark ever. Look at this. And there are dog loyalties who support this. Dog loyalists. People have lost their loved ones. They are mourning. You want to use their sorrow to make money for your dead funeral ministry. Why don't you guys die so that we use you for funeral tourism? You die. Tell Okreku to die. Die. When you die, then we can bring tourists. Yes, they can put suit on you and let you stand like what they did to Santo. Stand there, straight. Hey, the number of tourists who will come into the country will be overwhelming. That this is the youngest producer. He died, oh, Koshoko just killed him. So they will put you stand there. Maybe they put a barret on your head. You are standing there. Hey, we would all come and dance. Because that is what you wish for us. We should die so that you can bring tourists. Hey, tourism ministry, you've gone into the Guinness Book of Records as the most saddest. You are sadists. You derive amusement out of people's sorrow. That's why we are called sadists. Hey, that's what they said. Can you believe that the funeral ministry just said that? And they think they have made sense. How? Then wait for your president to die. After receiving old, when he dies, let him stand straight like Santo. Let all the rain charmers and all those people come and dance. Let them dance. Bring tourists. Hey, you know the number of tourists who will come? That a Lilliputian just died. Hey, that the private jet loving Lilliputian just died. Even Napoleon Bonaparte will rise from his grave and come to be a tourist. Hey, we will all come and we'll measure and see if when Lilliputs die, do they grow shorter or they grow taller? We would find out. Such a dumb ministry, funeral ministry, tourist. Sure. I leave it, my brother, my sister. I look at the next thing, and this is interesting. I'm reading this from Peace FM online, and it says flashback. Nana Addo told me non-Akan won't lead NPP. Non-Akan won't lead NPP. That's Harunata. You want to hear it again? Nana Addo told me non-Akan won't lead NPP. And attributed to Harunata. Who is Harunata? Let's find out. In 2016, former leading member of the New Patriotic Party, NPP, Haruna Atta, revealed the details of a conversation he had with President Nana Addo Dankwa Akufo-Addo. According to the former Ghana ambassador to Namibia, the president told him a non-Akan cannot lead the New Patriotic Party, NPP, as its flag bearer. The words have been indelibly etched on my conscience. Haruna, your support for Aliu was flawed. If you think our party would cede its Akan leadership, you are wrong. He went on to expatiate on the team, but with my mind reeling at this blatant and brazen ethnocentricity, nothing else really mattered to me again. When I left, I confided in a few people, mainly family and friends, as witnesses. I received all manner of suggestions on how to handle this bombshell. And indeed, one family member high up in the NPP even suggested that I take it up with President Kufuor. The frightening fundamental message was clear. No non-Akan should dream of leading the NPP as presidential candidate, he said in a statement to starfm.com. I believe not so many people will be shocked at this ethnocentric vituperations. My brother, my sister, this is simple. Nana Akufo-Addo has always been that kind of person. In fact, he comes from a family that is totally ethnocentric. Nanase Oforiata, my brother, my sister, was a king when it came to ethnocentrism. And when I say it, don't hate me. Research. It won't take you more than 2 minutes to see that Nanase Oforiata of Chebi was one of the most undesirable ethnocentrists in this country. I have given a whole history about him. And when we speak history, we don't fear these people. That's history. History is gold. And if you love history, treat it as gold. Don't twist history like Nkrumah warned us. Do not be revisionist. Kai, Jesus have mercy. Oforiatta, when he got in contact with the British, he made sure only Achim people benefited from that. He encouraged Achim people to intermarry and never marry outside Achim. And if any Achim person was going to get married outside Achim, they should marry rich and influential people. Aziwofia oye. A lot more. Just type Nana Se Oforiatta and look at the accolades. You'll be shocked. So when Nana Akufo-Addo is said to have said this by members of the party, Bawumia only becomes the Mr. Bean of Ghanaian politics, comedian. We love to see Mr. Bean. We clap for him to play the buffoonery. But I am angry because of this proverb, and I'll end on that note. They say, people are amused when a madman comes out and he's dancing, so they clap and make the madman dance more. But if the madman is your brother, would you clap? Hey, this is deep. Don't be too much in a hurry to answer. Listen. A madman is on the street dancing, and people have come out in their numbers. They are amused, so they are clapping like they want tourists for funerals. Clapping. And the madman is dancing, maybe even stripping naked and dancing, and they are clapping. But if that madman was your brother, would you join them to clap? Bawumia is my brother. And when I see him dancing like a madman in the market square, and I see people clap for a madman to keep dancing, I am hurt because that madman is my brother. I'm speaking in parables. I end it here. It's been the Black Pot, my brother, my sister, where we speak truth to power. I am not always right, but I strive to be as objective as I can. To God be the glory. I love you. I appreciate you. To God be the glory. Ghana shall prosper.
Bye. Up in my